It's like your
Yeah.
Netflix subscription. It's like you don't think about it. And they're not
Mm-hmm.
calling you. It's like, hey, your payment, blah, blah, blah. On the first, if you don't pay your Netflix bill on the first, you're not watching Netflix for the rest of the month. They don't
Mm-hmm.
care. Okay,
Question,
great. Yeah.
if our teacher taught a student for two times, and then, we didn't see the money, nobody paid, and they say that, like they quit. Suppose they quit, and, I'm going to try to collect from them and everything. Do I pay the teacher? Like, how do I pay the teacher?
Well, okay. So you have it structured by commission. So it's tough. And they're in charge of collecting payments. They're in charge of collecting payments, or you're in charge of collecting payments?
I'm in charge, but they have communication with the parent. They also, like, if I'm not there, they have to say, oh, you know what, your payment is due, blah, blah, blah. They also know, they're aware.
Okay. All right. So that's different from my situation. So in my case, my teachers.
You're in charge, right? For all the payments.
I'm in charge. I'm in charge of everything. And my teacher is hourly. So student comes in, not paid, and he teaches, he gets paid. But we do groups. So I make enough profit off of those groups that it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not losing a whole lot. I can still afford to pay him his paycheck. But like I said, it happens twice and they're gone. And if they're gone and they never pay, sometimes I'll email them consistently like, hey, you got this bill due. It'll go to collections, whatever. I kind of threaten them. I never send anything to collections.
Yeah.
I just don't want to deal with the hassle of it. So I'll just write it off as bad debt and then it comes off of my taxes. And I pay the teacher for those 2 times because the frequency that happens at my studio is very slow. Like I have my systems down ironclad and my teacher knows it and I'm in control of everything. I know it's tougher if you have 6 teachers. But I would take huge responsibility on collecting payments. And how are you accepting payments now?
So we have, checks, cash payments, PayPal, Venmo. We started to also do Square, like the credit cards recently.
Okay, a lot of options.
But there are people who just won't pay on time. Like it doesn't matter if you can tell them, we can just do the credit card. They just won't do it.
You charge by the lesson, right?
No, by monthly.
Monthly. Okay, perfect, amazing. So monthly by lesson, or is it consistent monthly, like a subscription?
No, so it's like, say, like there are 4
There's
Mondays.
5. 4 Mondays. They get 35 times 4. If there's 5, it's 35 times 5.
Exactly.
How many weeks do you teach a year? I don't want to change up the way you do your business, but I want to explain a little something that made a huge difference for me, and I think why I don't have those late payments. How many weeks do you teach in a year?
I mean, all the weeks except for like like the Christmas vacation, major holidays. I mean, we go year round.
Okay, year round. So like 50 weeks,
probably,
like that, give or take.
Yeah.
Okay. So I teach 42 weeks in a year. I don't do makeup lessons either. That's besides the point. So I teach 42 weeks.
Sorry. How do you not do makeups? Do people call that?
I build them into my schedules. I'm getting to that. Yeah. So I build them into my schedules. So I teach 42 weeks in a year. I charge for 40 weeks. 2 of them are free. If a student makes to all 42, they get 2 free lessons. If they miss twice, those are their makeups. They missed.
Okay.
So that's how I build them in. So I tell them, it's like, hey, I'm billing you for 40. You get 42. You make them all, 2 free lessons. If you miss 2, hey, you got what you paid for. If you miss 4, sorry, no makeups. Like this is the schedule. And I provide them my schedule ahead of time. So like I pick the days that I want off. Like next week is my last week of teaching. Then I have 2 weeks off. It's been pre-planned. So I have time for vacation and stuff like that. My teacher, he'll get vacation pay so that he still gets a consistent paycheck, even though he's not teaching. So I have those systems. So what I do is I take my base rate, which is $40.50 per lesson. I multiply that by 40, which comes, and then I divide it by 12, which comes out to $135. And that's what they pay monthly, regardless if there's 5 Mondays, 3 Mondays, 2 Mondays. It's flat. It's the same, like a gym membership. And
Mhm.
that helps. So the parent knows every month lessons cost $135, no matter what.
Mhm.
And it just comes out. So and then I used to do the same thing. I used to do Venmo and Zelle and PayPal and checks and cash and Square. I was like, this is ridiculous. So I'm having to pull money from here and from here and from here and from there. And it was making things really confusing. So I said, nope, I'm not doing that anymore.
Mhm.
I'm on my music staff and they do auto billing. So once you put them in the schedule, you have their credit card information. It takes the money out on the first every time.
Mhm.
I don't worry about it. I don't worry about collecting any payments. It does it on its own. I save so much time and effort. Like sometimes I'll get a ping. It says so-and-so's card was declined. I'll call them up, say, hey, your card was declined. It's like, oh yeah. Um, one person last month was like, yeah, our credit card got stolen, so we froze it, and we're getting a new card. Let me pay you by
Mhm.
cash this month, and they would come by and drop off their cash or check. And I'm like, that's fine. And then whenever they get the new card, I just put it back in, and they're back on the auto pay, so I don't have to worry about it. So this way, it's not a responsibility of the teacher. It's not your
Mhm.
responsibility. It's not even the parent's responsibility because they don't have to think about it. It's automatic. It's like your
Yeah.
Netflix subscription. It's like you don't think about it. And they're not
Mhm.
calling you. It's like, hey, your payment, blah, blah, blah. On the first, if you don't pay your Netflix bill on the first, they're not watching Netflix for the rest of the month. They don't
Mhm.
care. Same thing.
Yeah.
If their card was declined on the first, call them up and be like, hey, what's up? But then that's it. It's done. Like, you don't get your lesson.
Mm.
You're off the schedule.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then you could put the onus on yourself to reach out and call, or you could put the onus on the teacher to reach out and call and be like, hey, if they're getting paid by commission, then the teacher should be motivated to be like, get on the phone and be like, hey, I saw that you were dropped from the schedule. I'm assuming you didn't get paid. I mean, you didn't pay in on time. Can you come by
Mhm.
in with a check today or something? And then get back on to the auto pay thing. That way they could still do their lesson. They could still teach.